Hello everyone, my name is Jack Chapple. I make business and finance related videos pretty much every day, so hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, hit that like button, and let's get started. So today is going to be a little bit more of a personal video about how I escaped the 9-to-5 and why I cannot work a 9-to-5 ever again. So I know a lot of you watching this want to build a side business. A lot of you watching this want to invest. A lot of you want to build some passive income. That's why I want to teach you guys this stuff. So I am going to go through my story for those of you that have not heard it, because I have worked 9-to-5. I've worked everything. I've worked a 9-to-5 corporate job. I've worked a consulting job. I've worked a job where I didn't know my hours. Right now I'm running my own business. So how did I get from there, from 9-to-5 to here? And I'll just tell you my story, I guess. So I have a few notes written down here because I have to recount my life, but we're going to talk about it. So if you watched this channel for a long time, you guys know I had a corporate job. I had a corporate job when I was 18 years old, and I was very fortunate. I would have made about 50 grand a year if I wanted to do that full time. I didn't. So I had that job. I got that job through meeting people, knowing people, emailing back and forth. It's a long story. And then after that, I had to go to university while still having the corporate job. So when I was turned 18 or 19 years old, I went off to university. I had the corporate job. I was working in university 9 hours a day, and I had the corporate job, which was 8 hours a day, and I had no time for anything. And I had a relationship at that time too. So I had to make a choice I had to cut one of those things out. I was going crazy. I had no time for anything. I was getting big and fat, and I had no time to work out or exercise, and I was kind of miserable. So I had to make a choice. I had to cut out the relationship, I had to cut out the corporate job, or I had to cut out school. One of those three things. And I decided to cut out the corporate job because I thought the other things were more important to me. So that's what I did. I cut out the corporate job, and here's the thing. That 9-to-5 life was good. It was good and bad, I should say. That was at a point in my life where I liked the money, but I didn't like the job was okay. I mean, I would literally sit there at a computer all day at a pretty big office, actually. I had a pretty nice office, and it was good pay. I learned a lot, but I would just sit there, and it felt like no matter how good my work was, it wasn't fulfilled. I could do all this great work within a 4-hour span, and I still had to sit there all day emailing people or typing in more data or making something that I didn't want to make. I had no control. It was good money, but I had no control. And I hated the commute too. The commute was about an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back. So 3 hours of commuting a day during the summer. And I didn't have to commute as much during the school year. So anyways, I quit that job, and then I had to find a new way to make money from my dorm room. So around the time of 19 or 20 years old, I started experimenting. First thing I did, I had always invested in stocks, by the way. Since I was 18, I invested in stocks. I took that more seriously after my corporate job. And so, I don't know, I saved up, I forget how much money I started investing. It was somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000. I started investing in the stock market, and I did very well. Like, I doubled that money in 1 year. Which was fantastic. I mean, that paid for a lot of my expenses. Now, unfortunately, I got sick, and I had to sell off a lot of my stock. I got sick, and I couldn't work for a year. That's my story. So I got sick, I couldn't work for a year, and I had to find another way to make a passive income other than stocks because I had no money left to invest in stocks. And so I got into making science videos on YouTube and gaming videos on YouTube. And so that helped. That was making me a few $100s a month, which was okay. It would make me anywhere from $100 to the maximum I got was, I think, around $1,000 for that science channel, somewhere around there. And so that's okay. But while doing that, I also launched a bunch of side businesses from my dorm room that I tried, and all of them failed. All of them burned out in flames. I tried launching a clothing company. I tried launching an online shop. I tried the Amazon stuff. I tried eBay. I tried doing more stuff than I can imagine. I tried the affiliate marketing. I'm better at that now, but back then I sucked balls. So that is what I did. I tried starting every online business I could from my dorm room. And most of them failed. The YouTube ended up panning out for a little bit until I had to switch. And so I tried everything. And then one day I heard a podcast from Cardone. This was in third or fourth year. It was in fourth year university, and I heard this thing which changed my life forever. Which was like, look, he pretty much said, look, there's two things you need to do. Don't settle for a $40,000 a year 9-to-5 job. At that time, I had failed so many businesses that I wasn't giving up, but I thought that I'd have to do a 9-to-5 for a decade, and I would hate it, and then I could eventually get into some investing and some passive income streams and start my business. However, he got me motivated. He got me saying, like, look, you can get into investing right now and passive income streams. You got to make more money somehow. Take a commission-based job and try to make more money where there's no cap on your earnings. So right after that, I was listening to that at the gym. I went home and I started applying for my real estate license, which was, all of a sudden, my mind opened up. Like, I could make tens of thousands of dollars a year doing this real estate stuff, maybe hundreds of thousands. I know what my old boss, he was at his peak making about 250 grand a year only from selling real estate. So I thought I could get into that. So that's what I did. And I had to pay for all those courses for 6 months. So to pay for all those courses, I did real estate consulting. I did a lot of other consulting work for about 6 months, maybe a year. And while I was doing that, I was also trying to launch a bunch of other businesses too. I was trying to do consulting. I started this YouTube business channel, which is bringing in thousands of dollars every month of advertising. So if you guys want to get into that, I suggest you start now, because people say that there's a YouTube adpocalypse, and it is a little bit happening. But in the education field, in the business field, in areas where people are learning and aren't just video gamers, ad rates went up. They went up for me. They would probably go up for you. My CPM is about $15 to $16, $17 right now. The average YouTuber, it's about $4. So CPM is how much money you get for every 1,000 views. So so YouTube started taking off. I started affiliate marketing, started taking off. Eventually I launched some courses which did well. Again, YouTube, and it all just kind of added up. And my stocks were doing, all my investments were doing well. And all of those like 5 or 6 streams of income just added up to the point where I was making significantly more money doing all that stuff than I would make as being a real estate agent. And so that's how I kind of act, like it was all on purpose, but I was fortunate where I started making tons of money at the same time as this job where I was commuting 3 hours a day and consulting and driving all over the place. Actually, there were some days where I would have to commute from my house in Oakville to Toronto. Toronto is how we say it, not Toronto. And then I'd have to go from there to Niagara Falls to meet with people, to meet with clients. And then I'd have to drive back home. And that's like 4 hours of driving, more, 5 hours sometimes. So just the fact that I didn't have to commute anymore was fantastic. And so that's how I escaped the 9-to-5. People think that one of my income streams just all of a sudden became $10,000 a month. No, I had just a bunch that have added up to a few $1,000s a month. $3,000 here, $2,000 there, $2,000 there, $1,000 here, $1,000 there. It all adds up. And that's how I escaped the 9-to-5. It wasn't from me going, doing one business, one income stream. It was from doing a bunch. And that's why I think that I'm very fortunate, because if one of my income streams were to be cut, like I've mentioned this before actually, if one of my income streams were to get cut, like YouTube, it did for 1 week for me, it got cut to essentially zero, I was fine, because I had enough income from other streams where I could make up for that. Now, let's bring this back to the 9-to-5 here. Imagine if your 9-to-5 was your only income stream and that got cut to zero. You have no money. That's the importance of having multiple streams of income, is that for me, one of my streams got reduced to zero, but I was a little bit more stressed, but it was fine. I would be more than enough to pay for living expenses and still save money after everything. So again, that's how I escaped the 9-to-5. It was just trial and error, trying to start a bunch of side businesses until something takes off. And that's what you guys need to do to escape the 9-to-5. For me, it took a couple years. It took a couple years to get it right. A few years to get it right. For you, it might take 6 months. It might take a year. It might take 1 month. It might take 5 years. But just know that it is possible. You just got to keep chipping away at it over time. And then eventually, I have this talk called the All-In Moment. It's on my Wealth Accelerator program. The link for that is in the description below. It's one of my most important videos. It talks about when to know to quit your 9-to-5 and when you should push in all the chips and what's the best timing to quit your job and to pursue a business. And that's a really long talk, actually. That's like a 30-minute talk, so I can't give it in this video, but check it out. It's in the Wealth Accelerator description down below. But that's how I escaped the 9-to-5, was simply just having a bunch of income streams take off. So what do you guys think? Do you like my story? That's my story. I didn't fall ass backwards into it, but I worked really hard. I worked really, really hard, and I was just fortunate where 3 income streams took off at the same time. 3 or 4 took off at the same time. Yeah, so that's really it. I did miss one part of the story, actually. So before they took off, like literally the week before they took off, I was offered to be a part of an app and a multi-level marketing company, have equity in the company. And so, maybe I should talk about this, actually. So before I quit the 9-to-5, and before my businesses all took off, my side businesses all took off, I had, what was the app called? I met with this guy 3 or 4 times for an hour each. And the app was, I forget what it's called, but I've talked about it before. And this app was, he was essentially a social media marketing manager. It was a giant social media marketing company that he wanted to make, where people would use his app to advertise on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. He would control all the advertising. And the cool thing about it was that if someone clicked on your ad and filled out a survey or information about the product that you were selling, you would get a phone number pop up on your phone and you could call them right away to close the deal, which was a fantastic idea. I wanted to use it as a real estate agent, and I would have used it too if my businesses didn't take off here. So I was going to say, what do you guys think about that? But yeah, so that's what I was offered, and I was going to go that route. I was going to go a completely different route than I went. I wouldn't be uploading YouTube videos right now if I did that. I said, give me a few minutes, give me a few weeks to think about it. I have some other businesses that are doing kind of well, just give me a few weeks. And so I ended up not going into that specific app. I ended up going into another one, but it was really interesting. That actually happened like right before, and it's just weird how all the stars align. And now I end up, I'm doing what I really want to do, and man, I am so happy I left that 9-to-5, guys. I know a lot of you watching this are in a 9-to-5 right now, and that's why I can't even describe how much better life is when you have full creative control over your life, and when you don't have to commute more than, my commute right now is like 5 or 10 minutes. To the office that I have. It's all me. This entire giant 3,000 square foot office is pretty much all for me. It's shared in some parts, but no one's ever really here. It's pretty much all for me. And it's unbelievable how things just take off that quickly. So that's going to wrap this up, I think. That's how I escaped my 9-to-5. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Remember, check out the program and link below. I've been pushing that a little bit hard recently. Maybe I'll ease back on the self-promotion there. But thank you very much for watching. You're all very beautiful people. I'll see you guys in the next video.